This morning I popped out to a location which actually I scouted way back in the summer, and it was a location which I thought had some promise, but at the time, it wasn't the right time of year to photograph it. And this morning I've come out and it is a really freezing cold morning. We've had winter hit us hard this weekend in a good way. The temperature reading on the car this morning was actually minus 10 degrees centigrade, which is pretty chilly even for me. So I've been heading along this drive. Yesterday I went into Inverness and I drove along this road and I was looking at all the trees, and there's this hoarfrost all over the trees, and I couldn't stop to take photographs on that trip, but I decided I was going to come back out here this morning, and I've headed to this spot here where we've got this river and this little island that's in the middle of the river with a tree on it. Well, quite a few trees, but one particular conifer, and it just looks gorgeous. And I stopped here and came down and checked it out, and in the frost it's absolutely beautiful. We've got this mist and spray rising up off the river, and it just looks idyllic. So I've stopped to take this photograph, and I think it's a nice one actually. I think this is working out really well. I've got the 200mm lens on the camera just to zoom in on that island, and I've taken a couple of images close up just with the island, and I've come a little bit wider with the lens as well, just to see if we can get a little bit more of the river in as well. Where we've got this river kind of snaking down, it's sort of creating an S in the image, but we've also got a sort of rocky outcrop on the left hand side with a few hoarfrost covered trees on it. So I've taken a few shots which have included those, and yeah, it's just such a gorgeous place for this. Apologies for the noise, by the way. This always happens whenever I try and film next to running water. We always get this noise interference, but I hope you'll bear with me. In addition to that, at the moment it's the sun is up, but it's not very high. But as I'm standing here, the sun is rising, and it's just catching a little bit of light on the mountains behind this scene. Now, I didn't want to include too much sky or too much background in this image. I wanted the focus to be on the island that's in the middle of the stream. But as the sun is rising, I can see it's just catching the trees in the back of the scene. So I think if I just wait a few minutes, hopefully we might even get a bit of light on this scene as well, and that might just change the whole dynamic of the image as well. This is absolutely incredible. We've got this mist that's rising up off the river, and it's just sort of snaking round, and every now and again it just kind of clears and vignettes that tree on the island. Oh, it's just beautiful. And just see there's a little bit of light coming down. The tree itself is quite set down in the glen, so I don't know how much light it's going to hit that tree, at least not for quite a long while. But if we just get a little bit of light, maybe on the trees behind it, then that would work beautifully. Oh, such a gorgeous scene, this. So the light now is just starting to touch the top of that tree on the island, and there's a little bit of cloud just capping the mountain in the background too. I'm not wanting to get too much of that sky in, but that little bit of cloud is just helping me out a little bit. And I'm just sort of, as it's getting brighter, obviously I'm trying to sort of play with the shutter speed. Now I've got a polarizing filter on the lens, and I've bumped the f-stop up to about f16, so that's letting me keep the shutter speed at around about 1/4 of a second to 1/6 of a second, and that's about right for me on this. I don't want that shutter speed to be too long. I want just a little bit of movement still in the water. And as it gets brighter, I suspect I might have to, I don't know, maybe stick another filter on or stop it down even further. I don't like going above f18 if I can help it. But oh, it's just gorgeous. Absolutely loving this scene. This is such a fortuitous little stop. I have scouted this scene before, so I knew this was here. But yeah, such great conditions this morning. So I've now come to a different location, and actually doing quite a different sort of photography here as well. So this is a little bit of a birchwood, fairly average, nondescript birchwood to be honest, but there's a nice lay-by and I stopped and thought it was worth exploring. And actually what's caught my eye, because I was hoping to photograph some of these birch trees whilst we've got this hoarfrost on them, but actually what's caught my eye is there's a little frozen pool down here with some beautifully shaped bits of ice in it, and it's something which I enjoy doing but I don't do enough of, is these kind of intimate shots. So I'm just doing some handheld shots with a 200mm lens, polarizers on the lens there. It's not going to be possible to get the tripod into position very easily here, so I'm having to keep it handheld, which I actually like doing for these sorts of shots anyway, which just means that I've had to push that ISO up a little bit, but I think I'll get away with it. But yeah, just some really nice shapes of ice, and there seem to be different layers of ice as well. We've got a kind of clear ice on the top and then slightly sort of cloudy ice which is cracked at some point below, so it's creating these really nice curves. It's just creating a really nice little abstract image here. So this morning's actually been quite a successful trip, I think. That first location with that little bit of the island with the trees in it and the mist coming up, when I first saw that I thought, wow, that's stunning. So I'm hoping that some of those images are going to turn out quite nicely from that spot. I had really hoped to come out this morning and photograph some of these birches in hoarfrost. That really actually was the main reason why I came out this morning in these conditions. And I've struggled a little bit. I've been driving up and down the road. I've tried a few different locations which I had in mind, but to be honest, I've not really found anything that's worked too well. So I haven't come away with any of those images which I'd sort of set out to get. But actually, I think it was definitely worth coming and exploring this woodland. Although the actual woods themselves have been tricky and I've not really seen any images to take, that little pond with the frozen water, I think has actually produced some really nice abstract images. Let me know in the comments what you think about those images, because it's not a type of photography which I do an awful lot, but it is a type of photography which I really, really enjoy, and I love seeing those sorts of images. So anyway, let me know in the comments below. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. It's quite cold. I think it's time for me to get home and have a cup of coffee. So I really appreciate you coming along with me on this one, and I'll see you in the next video.